That sounds great. Great. Good. Got it. Okay. Good morning, everybody. And I'm just delighted to be here and sort of support you on this. Sounds like it's sort of a wellness nutrition uplift for the year. And I don't know, maybe some of you know that I did do a series also last year, and I'm really excited to be invited again to do it today and next Wednesday and the following Wednesday. So I want to get started right away so we can make sure we get everything in time and not rush and then have time for questions. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Liz Giesland. I've been a personal chef. It's actually 19 years last month. So quite some time. I quite literally learned on the job. I was a professional horse trainer before that. And I've just really had a wonderful journey in this profession. And I do love sharing some of the things and the tips and tricks that I've learned over this course of time. So today, if you did get your PDFs, I'm going to do two fish dishes today. And both of them, I think, are especially great for people that are unsure if they really care for fish. It's a good way to, try to get it into your diet. They're both sort of special in their own way. So we're going to start with the pecan crunch salmon. And I've gone ahead and I've already gotten it portioned. These portions that I've made, I don't know if you can see, these are about 3.5 ounces a piece. I've decided since I'm cooking these today, I will cook these. My husband and I will probably have 2 of these for dinner, and then I'll wrap up and individually freeze the other 2 for later, sometime down the road when I want one for lunch or for Joe and I for dinner at another time. So what I want to show you now is as far as like making the topping, okay? It is pecans, and what I did is, you can see these, I'll show you. They're very finely chopped. There's all the, you can use a knife, you can use a rolling pin and a baggie. This, I'll tell you, this machine, it's just a little mini food processor, and it has 2 settings, chop and grind. Basically, it's the blade going one direction and then reverse the other direction. Literally, less than 10 seconds, it made those pecans beautifully crunched up. So with the pecans, if you're going to want to use another little combination of a cracker, I've used, I love these. Of course, I took them out of the regular bag, but these are Mary's Gone crackers. They're gluten-free, very flavorful. They're just a delicious cracker. I use these for almost all of my cracker crumb crusts combos that I use for my clients, because I have a lot of gluten-free clients and they taste delicious. Same thing. I went ahead and put the crackers in, pulverized it in that mini food processor, and it works great. Some of you might have been familiar if you were here last year. This is another favorite tool of mine. It's called a chefin chop, and this works really nice. Doesn't get them quite as fine, but this works really well, and they're not expensive. You can get this on Amazon. It's called a chef in, like the letter N, chop. So in the meantime, I've got my oven preheated. Your recipe says 400. Typically, I cook the fish at 400, but I'm going to be making the salmon cakes at 375. 375 will work fine for the salmon. I've actually even raised the baking rack, or the rack in the oven up to the upper level. And I have one of those ovens that has the small oven on the top, and it tends to actually run a little hot anyway. So what I've done is I've gone ahead now, and I'm going to I chopped up a bunch of pecans, so I'm not going to use all of these. And here's another one. I just thought about this the other day about, well, when you're chopping a bunch of pecans, Liz, why don't you just do a whole bunch of them, then put them in a baggie, and then it's done. So, when you can save time, cook or prep once, and then you're set for maybe a time or 2 after. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually put in eyeballing. As you see in the notes before the recipes, I don't do a lot of measuring. I mean, yes, I do when I have clients that it's very strict with their dietary needs as far as how many fat grams. Yes, I'll measure oil. I'll do all of that. For this particular recipe and stuff today, I'm just eyeballing what I think I know I'm going to have plenty to put on top of those salmon fillets. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to go ahead, mix those 2. I'm going to drizzle in just a little bit of olive oil. I love this little drizzler. It's a Trudeau, I think is what it's called. And I can count to the number 10, and I know that that's a tablespoon. So if I am measuring, then I know how much that is. I say seasoning of choice. I love lemon pepper. I'm out of lemon pepper. So I'm using this. I found this at Costco. This is really nice. It's called Kinder's The Blend. And it's a salt and pepper and garlic. And it's really a nice sort of what I call all-purpose seasoning. So I'm going to sprinkle a little of that in there. And the thing too is be careful, like if you're using a cracker, like these Mary's Gone crackers have quite a bit of flavor. The other crackers I use, I meant to mention, that are also gluten-free are Crunch Master. They're very good as well. And let me step also back. I've also used hemp hearts. These are fantastic too. Of course, you don't have the crackery crunch, but these will definitely work if you don't have cracker crumbs. Hemp hearts are a really nice addition. They're super good for you. Not that you're going to be using a whole lot in this recipe, but they do really nicely blended with the pecans. So I'm going to mix this up with the olive oil. It just gives it a little bit of a, you know, something that's going to sort of hold the crumbs and the pecans together a little bit. And I can tell I've actually made more than I need here, which is okay. I'll keep it. I'll probably bake some more of these salmon cake or salmon fillets maybe later. But needs just a tiny bit more olive oil. And then I like to add to some dried parsley flakes. Totally not necessary, but I think it looks nice, and it's, I think, mostly for the eye appeal. But you know, I always try to suggest, you know, not letting yourself just be adventurous and not hold back if you don't have something. Look for things that you can improvise with. Okay, so now the topping is made. You can see it's just moist. It's not gooey. It's just covered with a little bit of oil, and that helps the pecans brown a little bit. So now we're going to apply a little bit of what I call, well, it's the glue actually. And you can use, typically, the very first time I made this, it was a mixture of honey and mustard. Then one time I didn't have any mustard, I just used honey. And I asked a client, they said it just tasted great. It was the same, Liz. So you can mix the honey and the mustard, or you can use just honey. I've also experimented and used molasses. Basically, you want something that's going to give a little bit of a stickiness so this crunch topping adheres to it. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to use just honey today. And I'm just going to drizzle a little bit on the top of each one. And then I'll use a spoon. And I did say, I think in the directions, you guys, you want to dry your salmon off really well. So it's nice and dry. And then you just, I don't know if you guys can see me, but I'm just spreading the honey on the top. Okay. This also, you guys, it works on tilapia, cod. If you want a whitefish, you can try this. Granted, the shape is a little bit different with some of those cuts of fish, but it will definitely work on another fish. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and literally, I'm going to spoon this on top and press it on. Get a nice crunchy topping. I made so much extra crunchy topping today, but it won't go to waste. I will probably even put it in a little baggie and freeze it. But actually, probably not, because I'm probably going to use it within the next day. So I'll just pop it in the fridge. Okay. And I think the reason pecans work so well is they just have a natural kind of sweetness to them. You could, of course, definitely do this with ground almonds if you just really don't like pecans. Again, like I said, just let your imagination or what you have on hand and go from there. Okay. So you can see I did this on like a little cutting board. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, you guys, I'm just going to come over, I just got a baking sheet. I got it lined with nonstick foil. You could use regular foil, of course. Give it a little spray. And I'm just going to lift these on. Okay. All right, get rid of this guy. Okay, this is great. So So I'm gonna go ahead and pop these in the oven, and they'll probably be coming out about the time we're getting ready to put the salmon cakes in. Okay, so I'm putting it in the oven. I'm gonna set the timer for 10 minutes. Start, there we go. Okay, so I guess we could, if you wanted, I don't know, actually, if anybody has any questions at this point with the salmon cakes, or with the pecan salmon, feel free to give a shout out, and then if not, I'll go ahead and proceed. Okay. All right, Michelle says looks good. Great, they are delicious, Michelle. They are. Okay, so now let's move on. I'm going to move my nuts out of the way here. And here's what I've done for the salmon cakes. Obviously, to save time, I have gone ahead and yesterday I cooked just right at about 2 pounds of salmon. Again, don't worry about exact measurements, but for the most part, it's 2 pounds, okay? It's flaked, and I cooked it yesterday, put it in the fridge, flaked it up. And in this, what we're gonna do is add, okay, I know all of you are in Indiana, so I know that you, even if you don't, okay, I'll say Wendy says, what side dish do you normally serve with the pecan salmon? Good question, Wendy. Actually, I love, if you want something really light, a really nice kind of robust green salad, or I make a really nice asparagus risotto, which is lovely. So that would be like what I call a company worthy meal. And I do it in the Instant Pot. And also brown rice with peas, just something really simple that gives you, because that's a very protein rich meal. And just as something real simple like that with your, the brown rice or any rice of your choice, or quinoa, anything like that would work really well. And they do beautifully. I know Wendy loves hers with a nice salad. I mean, she loves this salmon. She says you have to make the pecan salmon, Liz. So anyway, okay, so what I want to share with you guys, even if you don't regularly shop at, okay, Michelle, the canned salmon, that people have asked me that before. First of all, Michelle, I think that it would be cost prohibitive, to tell you the truth. I think that it would be too strong. I don't know anyone that has tried it. I just think it's better to get fresh. And I think I said in the notes, I am using Atlantic farm raised salmon in these dishes. My clients prefer that over the wild. Obviously, there's discussion about both ways, and that's a whole nother show. But I think that go with what you like. And if this will obviously be beautiful, both dishes with wild salmon, of course. So, but that's a very, very good question. So anyway, even if you don't shop at Kroger on a regular basis, I promise you it's worth it for you to go to the frozen food aisle, the frozen vegetables, buy bags of chopped onions, chopped bell peppers, this Mirepoix blend. They also have one that's called Cajun, which is celery, green onion, and onion, celery, and green bell pepper, sorry. And did I say green onion chopped? No, I meant green bell pepper. But these are time savers. They call them recipe beginnings. And I don't know what I would do without them. They're just, I always look for ways to simplify and make being in the kitchen easier and more joyful and not a big project. And chopping sometimes is just, it's not fun. So this really is a time saver. So here's what I'm doing for these salmon cakes. I did this earlier this morning. I took this bag, I cut it with the frozen vegetables in it, cut the top off, did 2 little nips in the bottom, okay? Then I put it in this Pyrex measuring cup and put it in the microwave for 6 minutes, okay? Then it's gonna be hot. Then drain them in a little colander. I used to wrap my hand in the towel and squeeze it out the bottom. It's too hot to do that. Dump it in a little colander. Then just take a spatula or spoon, press out as much water as you can. It doesn't have to be bone dry by any stretch. So, and I know that you're probably curious, if you don't have this, then you'll be chopping, which is fine, your onions, carrots, and celery, or combination of what you want. I think that this makes a really nice, and the carrots, they add a little sweetness. And I think these salmon cakes, especially for kids, I'm telling you, this is For people that don't think they like fish, this is really a good way to get them started. So what I have now, okay, here's the salmon. This is the mirepoix, okay? And what I did with that after it was the 6 minutes and drained, I put it in the mini food processor, zhush, 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 took no time at all. And here it is chopped. So that's gonna go in with the salmon, okay? Then 2 eggs, just lightly beaten up. Okay, 2 eggs are here. I did this prep earlier. Okay, that out of the way. And then again, seasoning of your choice. And again, this is delicious. I actually sprinkled the salmon when I cooked it with this. I'm going to add a little bit more. This I just found at Costco too, and this is really yummy. This is a sriracha seasoning, and this is good too. I've got several clients that love spicy, and so I would probably add this in. But I'm going to go with just more of a traditional kind of what I call a summer salmon cake. I'm going to add just a little bit more of this, okay? And then I like to add, I'm not going to forget the breadcrumbs, just a little squirt of lemon juice. You know, fish always is brighter and cleaner tasting, especially salmon, because some people think it's strong. Well, this farm raised is not at all. It's very mild, but I like the freshness. I probably put in 3 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons-ish of lemon. And now breadcrumbs, okay? You could probably use the cracker crumbs if you wanted. For this, because it's not really something you're gonna really taste, it's gonna be something that is actually just helping bind these together into cakes, these are just some plain breadcrumbs, and these are gluten-free. I'm gonna choose gluten-free today because I've got a couple of friends that I might treat them to some of these salmon cakes that I'm making today. And it's always nice if you're not sure if someone's gluten-free or whatever, this way you don't have to worry. So, and I think the recipe says 3/4 of a cup. I can't believe I'm bringing out a measuring cup, but I will. I'd say, yeah, that looks about right. Yep, that's right. 3/4 of a cup of breadcrumbs. Again, I've been known to just eyeball it, okay? So typically, like if I was making a meatloaf, which you guys I might be doing that, I think next week or something along those lines. Have a pair of rubber gloves that you keep on hand just for mixing things. This salmon actually is very easy to do. Excuse me while I get my spatula. Oh, here it is. It's very easy to do with a spatula, but if it was beef, I would really get in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this all mixed together. These are so good. Now another add-in, and I thought I had a jar of this in my pantry, and I did not. I usually always do. Is it's a garlic, you find it in the Asian section, garlic chili sauce. And I will tell you, that is so delicious. Pour the whole jar in if you like things spicy. And it's spicy, but not killer hot. But if you like zippy food, you like sriracha, the flavor of sriracha, that garlic chili sauce is going to be wonderful. Okay, so this took no time at all to pull together. Okay, so now I'm going to show you. There you go, all mixed together. And I'll make sure I didn't forget anything. I don't think I did. And I like to use kind of a nice big spoon. Excuse me for turning my back on you guys. And then my favorite, I love these Silpat little silicone muffin things. These are great. First of all, they clean beautifully. You can, line up. I know I'm going to get close to a dozen in here today with this. So basically what I'm going to do now is just take a spoonful, and this is just line them up, and then I press it in. What I'm going to do, I'm not filling these to the top. I'm just going to go halfway up. But I also have, so these are what I call obviously the big muffin tins, I guess, or muffin cups. But I also have, quite often I use this size, which would be your typical like muffin. And sometimes then I'll fill these to the brim. Typically when I'm making these for me, this is what I make. It's this size, a bunch of these. And then, and these, you guys, they just freeze beautifully. And I have a big stand-up freezer. So what I'll do with these after they're made is I will pop them after they're cooked. I'll pop them out, let them cool, and then I'll put them all lined up on another cookie sheet and let them all flash freeze in there. So they're all freezing without anything wrapped around them. And then I'll just put them either in a container or in Ziploc bags, like 4 to a bag, and name them, and there they are, ready to warm up, to thaw, and then warm up when you want them. So guess what? Our salmon is ready. Our pecan salmon. Oh boy. Okay. Like Emerald says, we need smell-o-vision. Okay, there's those beautiful fillets of salmon. So I'm going to put these over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get them off of the heat because they're finished, and just lay them out here, if you can see me, onto a little cooling rack. Obviously, if you're having lunch or dinner, you would just put this on your plate and dig in. Okay. All right, so let's get back. So I guess what we can do, you guys, if you want, I don't know, actually, if you want to open it up for questions, well, right now I'm just doing, sorry, I'm just filling these cups. So this is something that it's just the manual labor at this point, but I would love to hear questions or ideas or anything from everyone that's here. I guess I'll just wait till I hear something, right?
Hi, Liz. This is Wendy Nichols. I was curious what these salmon cakes, that's cooked salmon that you used, correct?
I'm sorry, Wendy. Say that once more time.
You used cooked salmon for the salmon cakes?
Yes, I cooked the salmon yesterday. And
Okay.
then, yeah, so it was raw. I cooked it yesterday, flaked it, cooled it, so it'd be prepared for today because it takes, it took about 12 minutes. Basically, the rule of thumb with fish is about 10 minutes at 400. Of course, I had 2 pounds worth there, so I think it took 12 minutes. And then cooled it and then, put it in the bowl so it'd be ready for today, since I know time-wise that doing all of that would have been, not really feasible. And it's not something that you're really necessarily learning something from that aspect of it. But these salmon cakes, you guys, are really, really delicious and make just a really easy, fun, dinner. And like I said, if you've got children that you're trying to introduce them to eating some seafood, these have always gone over well with my clients that have children. Let's see. Any other, you can pick my brain about other stuff too. I'm curious how many are going to give these a try. How about that?
Hi, it's Michelle. These look great. I just wanted to ask, how long do you cook them for?
Oh yes, the salmon cakes are going to go in for basically in this. I put them in for 30 minutes, and then that's usually, and you'll be able to tell because, well, the good thing is, other than the egg, everything is cooked in there, and
Yep.
so it's just going to. And I do believe, checking the recipe, I think I put in there. Yeah, 375 for 30 minutes. And then when I say check and add time is needed, that would be if they felt like mushy or something, but they won't. They'll be nice and firm. 30 minutes is a pretty good safe bet.
Great. I like those large muffin tins. Where did you get those?
I got these online. I mean, and now, it's amazing how there's so many great things online, and they're all that non-BP, all the stuff that is bad for you isn't in there, and they just wash beautifully. And like I said, I could be like, doing 8 of these big and then 10 of them small. I mean, it gives you, just using a tray, I mean, I still have a silicone muffin tray, and I find I'm rarely using it. I'm using these individuals a whole lot more.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question.
I'm on Amazon right now buying some of those silicone muffin things.
Good, absolutely. Well, don't
Me
you?
too.
They'll probably be there this afternoon.
Hi,
No,
Liz. This is Connie. What would you serve your salmon cakes with?
Well, the salmon cakes, I tend to usually use them for lunch, but again, for dinner, I think very similar to the little pecan fillets is just something, especially if you're working on eating cleaner and, that mission is, just a really nice complex salad, if you will, something that's really got a lot going on in it. And sometimes what's nice about these salmon fillets, you can eat them cold. You don't have to warm them back up. If you want, you can break them up cold. Think about it, you eat tuna fish cold. So it really, they have a lot of flexibility. Oh, here's another thing I've done. Oh my goodness. Okay. Take a nice piece of really good crunchy bread of choice. My husband and I are addicted to that Dave's 21 grain. I mean, it's so delicious. But actually for this, I think something that when you toast it actually gets even crunchier. And then give a little schmear of like a whipped cream cheese. And then take this cold salmon or warm and press part of the cake, because I mean, these cakes are going to be pretty big, or have two pieces of bread and divide it between the two. And press that down on top and eat it like an open faced sandwich. Delicious, delicious. You can also take a salmon cake, mix it with whipped cream cheese, and make like a spread. I mean, make it into, just kind of get creative with other ways to use it. Like, make an open faced sandwich or make a spread, have it with some of the Mary's Gone crackers. So I think I like to say kind of thinking out of the box a little bit and, make it more dinnery. You could do it with a rice and peas mixed together. I really like that combination a lot. Looks pretty. And then, or quinoa and peas or asparagus, anything that's kind of in your, obviously the things you like, go for something that you like and then just, pair it up.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yes, good. Yeah, this is really, really good as because sometimes I'll take leftover just baked salmon fillet that I've just, put some seasoning on top and baked, and I will mix that with like a whipped cream cheese and then just make a little spread with it, and then you're not letting anything go to waste, and it's another delicious way to eat it. Okay, so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to get these 12 done, and I'm actually going to be able to probably, and these are nice, generous servings of these cakes. And then I'm probably going to be able to have enough to make a couple of small ones or another cup. I just have a dozen of these big muffin tins. But yeah, these muffin tins come in great. I make meatloaf muffins in these. They're just really fun. And you know what else is nice too, you guys, is that really, look at it, it's kind of a way of portion control. You're not sitting there like, going for the whole big, like I used to be so bad with macaroni and cheese. Mom would make macaroni and cheese. And it's like, oh, the next day, it's like, okay, we're just going to even out the edge, right? And you just keep going and going and going. Well, I know for my clients, when I first started, you have a new client, I first start cooking for them and everything is portioned and in a container. They said, this is just great. It's like, they don't have to think what's in the container. And I tell them, I said, okay, what you do outside that container is not in my control. I have control of what's going into the container. You have the control of what's going on outside of the container. But it's amazing how when you do have something kind of pre-portioned, how your tummy and everything really goes, oh, that was just fine. That was really plenty. So, okay. So I've gotten 12 in there. I still have a little bit in here. I'm going to go ahead and put that into 2 of these. Looks like I've got enough maybe for 3 of the small ones. And they'll be going in the oven. So do we have some people that are gonna give these a try? Well, I know that, I think, was it Michelle that ordered the cups, so she's definitely gonna do it. Okay. Yep, I got 2 of these. And also, I was just thinking, I don't know if I gave this last year or not. I do have a PDF that does have links and pictures. I might have done it for another group of some of my favorite kitchen tools that I have that have really been good for me, time saver wise and performance wise. And because I'm not a real gadgety person, they gotta really perform. Okay, so I'm gonna put these guys on here. And you guys don't have to have your muffin cups. I've got them on a baking rack on top of the baking sheet. The reason I'm doing that is because my oven tends to run a little hot on the bottom, and I just don't want the bottoms of the salmon cakes to get too brown. If I was doing this in my big lower oven, I wouldn't have to have them on this, but I'm doing it in the upper one, so that's why I put it on top, you can see, of that wire baking rack on top of this. So these are gonna go in for 30 minutes. Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and move that down to the lower one. So you guys can see, we did this, what? 30 minutes. Now, granted, I had a lot of prep done, but this is something you could also do the prep a day before. So you could have, like I did, have your salmon cooked the day before, then whip up the salmon cakes. To look at being able to do things in sections that works for your time. So, well, if you guys have any more questions, I hope this was helpful and giving you guys some ideas. I'm excited about you guys maybe learning something new and something fun to try.
Thank you so much. It was really great.
Good.
This is awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Pam, and everybody. Appreciate it. And also, yeah, I wish you would be here like in 30 minutes. Lunch will be ready.
I think you live in my town. I might be.
I'm in Westfield.
You too.
But really, give these a try. I think that you'll really enjoy them. They're super easy. You can make them your own, use your own seasonings and ideas, and just take these suggestions that I've given today and just use them as a guideline, and just let your imagination run with the idea. Great. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, everybody.
Hey Liz, I have a quick question. What kind of sauce do you make to drizzle over your salmon cakes, or do you use a sauce at all?
I don't usually use a sauce, but you could make, think of the kinds of things that you would like, maybe from a dressing standpoint, like if you like ranch or, I'll tell you what I love is, and I'm kind of addicted to it. I love sriracha sauce, which is the spicy, mixed with a little bit of mayonnaise or sour cream. And just have that you could dip in if you like the spicy, that's really good. Of course, typical, Thousand Island was what, ketchup and mayonnaise. But I think thinking along where your taste buds go, a lot of people love blue cheese. You could use like a little bit of a blue cheese dressing, or you could make something maybe like a lemony vinaigrette if you like something lemony. I think thinking about a sauce, whatever you gravitate for, if you were putting dressing on a salad, would probably be nice with your salmon.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question. Does it look like we have any more questions coming, Ashley?
No, I don't think so. I think that is it.
How did we do time-wise? Did we do well? Okay, great,
Yeah,
okay.
that was-
Okay, I think Wendy, okay, Wendy has the PDF, so someone just said I didn't get the PDFs. I know that Wendy has it, so.
yeah, I just asked her for it because she didn't send them to me. So that's why I didn't have it, but I just asked her for it. So I have them now and I'm going to send them to everyone right now.
Good, good. And then I will send her the ones, once I make it up for next week, I'll make sure I get that to her. So Ashley, so I know, was this a really good time